So, Bhante, do I have your permission to start the session, Bhante?
Yes, we can start now. Yes.
Namo Buddhassa. Welcome to our weekly Dhamma discourses. In this series, we have today Venerable Bhante Rathmale Sumedha from USA. And the topic that Bhante is going to take is an introduction to Satipatthana Sutta. We are always grateful to Bhante. Bhante is a main abbot at a Vihar in Dallas, and Dallas, Texas in USA. And Bhante has been a meditation teacher, has been teaching meditation for a long time. And we are knowing Bhante for a long time as well. The Vihara that Bhante has, there are Buddha Dhatus at the Vihara, and it's just a beautiful place to visit. And to listen to Bhante, it would be a great treat for us. Bhante, and we are still working with Bhante on that, but Bhante would like to take a series of lectures too later on where he would go in depth on the Satipatthana Sutta. But at the moment, he just wanted to kind of have the introduction part. So as usual, I wanted to kind of request Bhante on behalf of all the participants for a Khamayachana and a Kyudayachana. Bhante, we will do the Khamayachana. Okasavandami Bhante Dvaratayena Maya Katam Sabba Paradhang Kamatume Bhante Dutiyam Piyokasavandami Bhante Dvaratayena Maya Katam Sabba Paradhang Kamatume Bhante Datiyam Piyokasavandami Bhante Dvaratayena Maya Katang Sabba Paradhang Khamatu Bhante. Bhante, we will make a Panchashiliyachana. Okasa Ahang Bhante Tisaranena Sah Panchasilang Dhammang Yachami Anugrahang Katva Silang Dethame Bhante Dutiyam Piyokasa Ahang Bhante Tisaranena Sah Panchasilang Dhammang Yachami Anugrahang Katva Silang Dethame Bhante Tatyam Piyokasa Ahang Bhante Tisaranena Sah Panchasilang Dhammang Yachami Anugrahang Katva Silang Dethame Bhante
Yamahang vadami tang vadeta.
Bhante.
Namo tassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Saranaгаmanang sampunnang
Bhante.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinnādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kāmesu miccācāra veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musāvāda veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Surameraya majjapamadattana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Surameraya majjapamadattana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Tisaranena saddhiṃ pañcaṣīlaṃ dhammam sādhukaṃ surakkhitam katva appamādena sampādē tabbam.
Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Much gratitude, Bhante, for this Dhammadana. On behalf of all the participants, Bhante, I wanted to request you for the Dhamma discourse today. Again, for all the people, our teacher today is Venerable Bhante Rathmale Sumedha from Dallas, Texas, USA. And topic is an introduction to Satipatthana Sutta. Bhante, I request you to please start your Dhamma Desna.
Thank you. Thank you. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Ekāyano ayam bhikkave maggo sattāraṃ visuddhiyā soka parindavānaṃ samatikkamāya dukkha domanasānaṃ attagamāya ñāyassa adhigamāya nibbānassa saccikiriyāya yadidang cattaro satipatthana katame cattaro ida bhikkave bhikkhu kāye kāyānupassī viharati ātāpi sampajāno satimā vinaya loke abhinjādo manassaṃ Vedanasu vedanānupassī viharati ātāpi sampajāno satimā vinaya loke abhinjādo manassaṃ citte cittanupassī viharati ātāpi sampajāno satimā Vinaya loke abhinjādo manassaṃ Dhammesu dhammānupassī viharati ātāpi sampajāno satimā vinaya loke abhinjādo manassaṃ Good evening here in the US and then good morning in India. dear devotees and Dharma friends. With the invitation of Mr. Pankaj Meshram, I have this opportunity today to speak to you, explain the teaching of the Lord Buddha, the Dhamma. It is my great privilege, and I am very happy and this opportunity you have given to me. Thank you for everyone who are joining here to listen to this Dhamma talk. So today this talk is about the Satipatthana Sutra, introduction. Satipatthana Sutra, there are a few different places. Majjhima Nikaya, middle-length discourses. There is a sutra, Satipatthana Sutra. And then Sangyukta Nikaya, there is a Satipatthana Sangyukta, connected discourses among in that area of the teaching. In the connected discourses, there are quite a few Satipatthana Sutra short teachings are there. And then again, Digha Nikaya. In the Digha Nikaya, that means long discourses. There's a Satipatthana Sutra. It is called Satipatthana Sutra. Maha means great or long or large. That is, this I am talking about here today, the Satipatthana Sutra, about the long discourse. Satipatthana Sutra is in the long discourses. So when we talk about this sutra, we have to go to the beginning of this, how this sutra came to taught by the Lord Buddha. At the time of the Lord Buddha, the Buddha's one of the routines was to travel throughout India after the rainy season is over. Rainy season is normally 3 months. Sometimes Lord Buddha stays for 4 months in one vihara with the bhikkhu, sangha, the monks, and then travel throughout the India. So there are quite a few reasons why the Buddha was traveling. One is having been staying in one place for 3 months, 4 months, practicing. The monks and the Lord Buddha himself need some exercise. It is good for walking. Walking is good for physical health. And that's one reason. Then there's another reason, that is there are people in the rural parts of India at that time, even today, couldn't go and see the Lord Buddha. They were far away. Sometimes there were sick people. Sometimes there were young children. Sometimes pregnant mothers and mothers with little children. And the poor people, they couldn't go too far. They didn't have enough wealth to go long distance. So the Lord Buddha traveled. Then the monks also, Buddha normally doesn't travel alone after the rainy season. Sometimes 500, sometimes 1,000, sometimes 10,000, or so many monks travel with him. So people get a chance to see the Lord Buddha and also make an offering, dana, flowers, and whatever they could, and make meritorious deeds. Then that is a great meritorious deeds for them, offering to the Lord Buddha and the enlightened Arahant monks and all or monks are practicing to be enlightened. So this was a great opportunity for those who are living far away from the Lord Buddha's, where the Buddha was living, city, Savatthi, or any other place. So this traveling was routine. Every year, Lord Buddha, sometimes 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, traveled from throughout India, from village to village, throughout the cities and middle towns, and so small towns, and so kept traveling. So this Satipatthana Sutra was Buddha taught during one of those traveling. Buddha was traveling through. At that time, it is called Kurunang Janapada. That means the state of Kuru, people, that name was Kuru. And then the discourse starts like this. Evang me sutang. Thus have I heard. Ekang samayang bhagava. At one time, the Blessed One. Kurusu viharati kammas dhammang nama kurunang nigamo. In the state of Kuru, there was a small town called Kammasadhamma. Lord Buddha was staying there. So this is the Ananda Mahatheru. This is how he started this sutra. During the first Dhamma Sanghayana, Sangha Council, Ananda Mahathera, Buddha's personal attendant, he was then a Arahant monk, and he remembered most of the Buddha's teachings. And then he explained to the other 499 Arahant monks what he has learned from the Buddha. And then always Ananda Mahathero started the discourse saying, Evang me sutam, thus have I heard. So this is a very important saying here. It is because Ananda Maha-Arahant, Buddha's personal attendant, was extremely devoted towards the Lord Buddha. And then he never wanted to show others that this is his teaching or his saying. He always said, I heard this teaching from the Lord Buddha. That explains the great respect towards the Buddha. And again, the humility, Ananda Mahathera's humility also explains in this. And then again, he is saying, this is not my saying, this is the teaching of the Lord Buddha. Thus have I heard from the Lord Buddha. And then he explains, Ekang samayang bhagava, at one time, the Blessed One. So at one time means here, it can be in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening. At some one time, the Buddha was staying in the Kammasadhamma Nama Kurunang Nigam. The Kuru Janapada, the state of Kuru, there was Nigama. Nigama in the Pali word, Nigama means today's, we can think a small town. This is how it explains in the commentary. Gama, Nigama, Ratha, Gama, Nigama, Nagara, and then Ratha, and then Janapada, and Janapada, Ratha, and Rajadhani. So Gama means a small village. Could be there are few families, 5, 6, 7, 10, or maybe 50 or even 100 families living in a rural village that is called Gama. Nigama is larger. There are some intersection people and travel through, and then there are more than one village. Then there are maybe 3 or 4 or more villages combined in that intersection somewhere. And there are more places people can buy goods and then sell their whatever they have, things like farmers markets and like today. And this is not a village. This is somewhat small town. So Nigama, that is Nigama, a small town. And then there are people from rural villages. Sometimes they bring their goods after they harvest some rice and other things and vegetables or fruit or some things. They bring to this small town and they sell them there. And then if they need anything to buy clothing also, they buy them and go back. So a small town. And the Nagara means the city, is much bigger. And then Janapada means a state. That is so many cities in a state, many small towns, many villages. And then Rajadhani means kingdom. The kingdom can have sometimes more than one state. It's very large. So Lord Buddha was staying in this Kamma Sadam Nam Kurunang Nigamo, this small town that was the state of Kuru, that people were living there. So this place was very famous because the Lord Buddha had visited this place more than once. Buddha has taught some very deep, profound discourses, Mahasaropama Sutra, Mahanidana Sutra, and so. And then here's Mahasatipatthana Sutra is another very great profound teaching here. We will go into detail about that in a little bit. The first here, Lord Buddha was traveling through this small town. And then when the Lord Buddha was traveling, he wasn't traveling always. Sometimes stay in some area, rural places, a day, 2, sometimes a week or so, and rest, and then teach Dhamma to the people, and people come to see him, and then travel again. So here, that in this Kammasa Dhamma small town, he was staying, and at that time there were 30,000 bhikkhus, monks traveling with him. And there was a very nice, good forest. That forest had water, streams, and a nice, good climate. And there was many villages around. Monks could go for alms round. So people were very devoted, and they were practicing, in fact, Dharma there, because Buddha had visited there previously. People have learned about the teaching of the Buddha to practice mindfulness and so on. So that was a very convenient, comfortable place for the Lord Buddha and the monks to stay for a short period of time. So it is said when we talk about the historical background about this sutra, that in this town, this small town, the people were very much into the practice of the Dhamma. It is said that when people, ladies, go to bring water, go to river or to the pond or to bring water, and then when they meet with each other, they talk something about the Dharma. They did not gossip. They did not talk about other people or unnecessary thing. They talked about the Dharma, or they just kept quiet with practicing noble silence. Noble silence. That means being quiet at the same time, thinking some kind of meditation method, meditation thoughts, mindful thinking. And then sometimes if they talk, they ask the other people, my sister, my dear mother, or so what kind of meditation you are practicing? If they said, I don't practice any meditation, and then they tell, oh, that is not good. Lord Buddha has appeared in this world. His teaching is available. It is important we practice Dhamma. And then they teach to them some kind of meditation method. If someone said, I am practicing Satipatthana, I am practicing Buddhanusati, and so on, then they praise them. That is so wonderful, wonderful. Your life is not being wasted. Lord Buddha appeared for you, and it is so wonderful, and so on. People have been practicing there, Dharma, for a while. So Lord Buddha stays there, and then Ananda Mahathero says, Ekang samayang bhagava kuru suvirati kamma sadammang nama kuru namigamo tatra ko bhagava bhikkhu amantesi. At that time, there, the Blessed One addressed bhikkhus, the monks. So, bhikkhavoti, bhikkhus, the Buddha addressed the monks. Bhadante dite bhikkhu bhagavato pachasosu. Venerable Blessed One, then monks replied to the Lord Buddha. Then Bhagava etadavocha, the Blessed One explained in this way. So here this teaching that Buddha talked to the bhikkhus, so that doesn't mean that this teaching is only for the monks. The monks are always around. Buddha was surrounded by the monks. So therefore he always addressed the monks. But there were nuns, laymen, laywomen. Buddha's teaching is universal. Buddha has no discrimination towards anyone, not even the slightest discrimination towards anyone. But the Buddha talked to the monks because Buddha was surrounded by the monks always. Here about 30,000 monks. So Buddha said, bhikkhus. And the bhikkhus replied, Venerable Blessed One. And then the Buddha talked in this way. Ekayano ayang bhikkhave maggo. Bhikkhus, there is one and only path. Sattanang visuddhya, purification of beings. Purification of the living being. Soka paridhavanang samatikkamaya, to overcome grief and lamentation. Dukkhadomanassanang atthagamaya, physical pain, emotional, psychological suffering. To overcome, to extinguish this physical pain and psychological pain and suffering. Nyayasya adhigamaya, to experience, to realize the path knowledge, and then Nibbana Sachikiriyaya, to experience Nibbana. freedom from dukkha. There is one and only path. So what is this path? Chattaro Satipatthana. 4 Satipatthana. So now let's talk in details about this teaching we talk about. So here, the Lord Buddha didn't start teaching meditation method right away, but he explained the benefits of this Satipatthana to the monks. Here we have to understand Satipatthana. Sati means mindfulness, awareness. Saratiti Sating in the commentary explains Sati means to remember. Remembering is Sati. Remembering to be here. Then now you are listening to the Dhamma. Remembering I am here in this moment, listening to the Dhamma. For me, remembering I am teaching the Dhamma. And then like that, whatever we do, remembering I am here, doing whatever I am doing in this present moment. So being in the present moment, remembering to be here in the present moment is sati. So it has been called mindfulness, awareness, and so. But literal, simplest meaning of sati means to remember. Remember to be here. Patthana means to establish mindfulness, to establish to be here in the present moment, to remember. So Buddha said, this is the one and only path. So this is important to know. Why? Let's speak about the benefits again first. Lord Buddha said, purification of being, sattanang visuddhya, purification of beings, living beings. So here, purification doesn't mean that physical purification, cleanliness. Here is the purification of the mind, heart and the mind. The purification of the heart and the mind from greed, hatred, delusion, selfishness, anger, jealousy, ill will, pride, conceit, arrogance, and so on, the defilements. Purification of beings means purification of the mind from these defilements. Grief and lamentation, to overcome grief and lamentation. So, and then again, to extinguish physical pain and emotional suffering. And then to gain wisdom and knowledge to the 4 enlightenment paths and to experience Nibbana. There is one and only path, ekayano maggo. So ekayana, this word has 2 words together, eko ayano. Eko means one, ayano means also one. When we translate that into English, one and only path. Ekayano maggo means one and only path. So this is important, very important point here in this teaching. So to be free from suffering, to realize nirvana, to be for the purification of the mind, so one can argue there are so many other teachings, so many other religious teachings in the world. Using any one of them, one can achieve this goal. No, not so. Because when we follow this path, what we do, we follow the Noble Eightfold Path. Living in the present moment, That means we let go of the past, we let go of the future, and we live in the present moment. So when we say that some people can argue, so how can I live in the present without thinking of the past or the future? I have so many things to do. So that is not what we are talking about here. Indeed, we have to think about the past. We can learn from the past. We can bring good lessons from the past to enhance our future, the present. We have to think about the future to get things organized, planned, and then it is important. But the thing is here, most of the times people get lost in the past or the future. And then they lose the present moment. They forget what they are doing. Sometimes I have heard some people have told me uh, they they go for a walk or do something, and then all of a sudden they don't remember if they lock the door or turn off the oven or all these things. They don't remember, and they worry. Sometimes they come back or just keep on going, worrying and with anxiety and things in the mind. But if we remember when we close the door, I am closing the door. I am turning the key. I'm locked. I lock this door now. Make sure I turn off the ovens. Before you leave, you pay attention, be mindful. Oven is all turned off. Lights are turned off. Windows and doors are closed. And all of this, if we do them with mindfulness, being here, knowing, remembering, then we don't have to worry about it. We remember we did. So it is like that. The being in the present moment, living in the present moment, means that is being aware of what we do and not overthinking about the future or not repenting about the past. Sometimes people hold onto the things that happened in the past and they become very miserable. They live in pain, hatred, anger. They suffer tremendously thinking of the past. They don't know how to let it go. And then sometimes people worry so much. You know, there is a good saying that Mark Twain had said, the worst things in my life never happened. The worst things in my life never happened. They're all imagination. See, it happens more often with so many people. So that is because overthinking about the future. We have to think about the future, but once necessary thinking is done, come back to be here in the present moment. And, and also remember that we are thinking about the future, whatever that may be, we think with mindfulness, knowing I'm thinking, I'm planning, I'm organizing. My mind is in the past, or whatever that may be. So that's why the mindfulness, when we practice in this way, this is the one and only path because there's a right understanding, the right right thinking, and the right speech, and all these. The Noble Eightfold Path is we are developing that. Noble Eightfold Path is not taught anywhere else. The Lord Buddha, at the time of he was passing away, right before, there was an ascetic came to see the Lord Buddha. His name was Subhadda. He asked some questions. He was an ascetic for a long time, and then he asked the Lord Buddha about how to attain enlightenment, and if it is possible following the other paths. Lord Buddha said, without following the Noble Eightfold Path, Lord Buddha said, it is impossible to realize the Four Noble Truths and attain enlightenment. So this doesn't mean that people who believe in other, belief systems and so they cannot practice this mindful. No, it is not the case. Anybody who can learn to be in the present moment, paying attention to what is going on in the present moment, they can practice this mindfulness, and then this will lead to the purification of beings. Purification of beings means purification of the mind and the heart. And there are four ways of doing this. That's why Chattaro Satipatthana. There are four ways to practice a mindful contemplation. The first is Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu khaye khayanupassi viharati. Bhikkhus here. Ida means here. Here means in this teaching, in this Dhamma. Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu. Bhikkhus in this teaching, in this Dhamma, one who fear this cycle of birth and death, existence, samsara, khaye khayanupassi viharati. That means one abides being mindful, practicing mindful contemplation in the body, Atapi sampajano satima, one with effort, energy, and then also clear comprehension, wisdom, and then being mindful. And then Lord Buddha explained, there are other important two qualities. Vinaya loke abhijja domanasam. Abandoning, letting go of this, these two things, that's craving and aversion. Abandoning craving and aversion. And then Vedanas Vedananupassi virati. One abides observing with mindfulness, mindful contemplation in the feelings. And the third is in the mind, and then fourth is in the Dhamma. So these are the mindful contemplation of the body, mindful contemplation of feelings, mindful contemplation of the mind, mindful contemplation of the Dhamma. So these four are the four mindful practices. And then here, Lord Buddha explained here three important qualities. One who wants to practice this mindfulness, Satipatthana, one has to have three qualities. One is energy, effort. Atapi means effort. It is not that normal, a very simple effort. This is a very important that this effort comes in four different ways. One is to get rid of the unwholesome thoughts already arisen in the mind. And then again, not to allow the unwholesome thoughts to arise in the mind. And then again, to cultivate, to make it happen that wholesome thoughts arise in the mind, and then again, to cultivate, to continue with the wholesome thoughts that have arisen in the mind. So this effort comes in four different ways. And then again here, the effort has three steps: Arambhadhatu, Nikkhamadhatu, and Parakkamadhatu. Arambhadhatu means the beginning stage of this effort. Anybody can start doing something, but not everyone can continue with that. Nikkhamadhatu means once we started, let's say, I am going to be mindful most of my days as much as I can. So that is a beginning for someone. And then continue with that is not easy. There are some difficulties, obstacles come, and then they fall behind, they abandon it. So then some people, they continue. That's called nikkamadhatu, continuation effort. Parakkamadhatu means even with the worst difficult things happen in life, they are not going to abandon it. So they keep on going until the end results they found realizing the Dharma. So that's called parakkamadhatu. One has to have this effort if one wants to practice Satipatthana. This is a very important quality. Another one, second one, is clear comprehension. Clear comprehension. That means wisdom. Intuitive wisdom. It is very important. There are intuitive wisdom means that when there are difficulties, obstacles that are not helpful to the practice, one learn how to manage that situation without hurting one's practice. Even with a difficult situation, one still can continue with the practice if we have this wisdom, comprehension. So associating Dharma friends, and then also avoiding the situation that are not helpful to the practice, and then learning the Dhamma and being aware of that also with the determination to continue with the Dhamma. And these things help to develop that intuitive wisdom. And then also wisdom has different levels, learning wisdom, and then contemplative wisdom, and then also experiential wisdom. So the wisdom has to be there. And then the wisdom can be developed. Sometimes it may not be very strong and profound in the beginning, but as we continue, wisdom will be developed and improved. And then again, satima. This means being mindful. Whole teaching of the Buddha is comprised in the word appamada. After teaching the Dhamma, traveling all over the subcontinent of India, teaching many thousands, hundreds, thousands, millions human beings, devas, brahmas, the Dhamma, teaching these Dhamma, the Lord Buddha, and the end, when he was 80 years old, he was ready to pass away. It is called the great demise. Attain parinibbana, to attain nibbana. At that time, the final word was appamadena sampadeta. Practice with diligence. Practice mindful contemplation with diligence. So this is the appamada word. Appamada word has been explained in the commentary. Appamadoti satya avippavaso. Appamada means not abandoning mindfulness. Appamada means present, being mindful here in the present. Appamada means not abandoning mindfulness. So mindfulness means here mindful contemplation. Mindfulness has to accompany with wisdom, mindfulness and wisdom. So then it is possible to realize the Dhamma. So these are three important qualities: effort, energy, and then wisdom, comprehension, and then being mindful, being in the present moment. And then the Lord Buddha said, Vinaya loke avijja domanassa. Now this is very important again. Here, abandoning, letting go of greed and anger or craving and aversion. So now, why it is so important? We can become mindful. We can be strong with. We can be with strong energy and effort, and then also we can be wise. But if we don't let go of this craving and aversion, we cannot come to the middle path. Middle path is the Noble Eightfold Path. Craving is one extreme, kama sukhallikanu yoga, the extreme of sensual indulgence. And then aversion is another extreme, self-mortification. So in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Lord Buddha said in his first sermon to the 5 ascetics and many millions of devas and brahmas, because there are these two extremes, sensual indulgence extreme and the extreme of self-mortification, self-torture. Having abandoned these two extremes and following the middle path, the Blessed One attained enlightenment, became the Samma Sambuddha. If anyone else, his disciples, monks, nuns, laymen, or lay women, anyone wants to realize the Dharma that Buddha realized, the Four Noble Truths, then one has to follow this middle path. To follow this middle path means to abandon craving and aversion. How this works? When we have craving, greed, selfishness on one side, our mind is in one extreme. When we have anger, aversion, hatred, ill will, our mind is on the other extreme. But when we let go of this, we come to the middle path. How do we let go of this? How do we? Because that's why it is important, Lord Buddha, we have to have effort, we have to have clear comprehension, mindfulness. What happens then when we develop this mindful awareness into the body or feelings or the mind or dhammas, what happens? We begin to see the present moment. Craving can arise, anger, aversion can arise, anything good or bad or evil can arise, but there's something is happening here. That is, things arise only in the present moment. What are these things? Forms, this body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, consciousness, the 5 aggregates. And clinging to these 5 aggregates, they arise in the present moment, not in the past, not in the future, only in this moment, present moment. So when we are mindful and we have contemplation and wisdom and effort, we begin to see things rise and vanish. Then what about this moment, present moment? This present moment is also rise and vanish. What about the one who sees this wisdom or awareness? That also arises in the present moment. In the Vedanta Sutra, Sariputra Maha Arahant said, Panya bhave tamma vinyanam parinyaya. This consciousness has to be realized as impermanent, dukkha, and empty of self. And then in order to see this, Panya Bhave Tabba, wisdom has to be developed, cultivated, improved. When the wisdom is developed, then it begins to see this present moment arise. 5 aggregates arise in this moment, and then consciousness also arises in this moment, and wisdom that sees also arise in this moment. Everything vanishes. This moment and everything in it rise and vanish. What is left? Emptiness. Emptiness of I, me, mine. And the next moment arrives. The next moment arrives. So we continue to live from moment to moment. We live from moment to moment. But we don't realize that because we do not develop this mindfulness, awareness, wisdom, understanding, comprehension. That's why the Lord Buddha said, this is very important point here, abandoning craving and aversion. So these are the 4 Satipatthana, that mindful contemplation of the body, mindful contemplation of feelings, mindful contemplation of the mind, mindful contemplation of the Dhamma. So Dhammas means here natural phenomena. 5. So in this sutta, Lord Buddha explained 21 different meditation methods. In the Kaya Anupassana, mindful contemplation of the body, there are 14 meditation methods. Mindfulness of breathing in and out, anapanasati, and then mindful contemplation of the 4 postures, standing, walking, sitting, lying down, and then mindful contemplation of all of the activities, including sitting and standing, walking, lying down, and looking forward and going forward, looking around, and then eating, drinking, and whatever we do, everything is being mindful about. And then again, mindful contemplation of the 4 elements, mindful contemplation of the Dhammas, mindful contemplation of the 32 parts. And then there are 9 ways to practice meditation by observing the dead body in different conditions. So there are 14 different meditation methods Lord Buddha taught in the Kaya Anupassana. And then mindful contemplation of feelings, only 1. Mindful contemplation of the mind is 1, now 16. And mindful contemplation of Dhamma, there are 5 meditation methods. The 5 hindrances, nivarana, and then the 12 ayatanas, that sense bases, and then also the 7 factors of enlightenment, and the 5 aggregates, clinging of 5 aggregates, and the 4 noble truths. There are 5 meditation methods. So they become deeper and profound, and as they go. So why there are 4 different ways. So people can start, if they have a hard time understand the deeper area of Dhammanupassana, they can start with Kaya Anupassana, and then develop into Vedana, Chitta, and Dhamma. So that's the reasons why Buddha explained there are 4 different methods. But in the end, whatever we practice, mindful contemplation of the body or the mind or feelings or Dhammas, in the end, what we realize is the impermanent dukkha and emptiness of self of these 5 aggregates, and thereby realizing the dukkha, the first noble truth and the cause of the dukkha, and the end dukkha, that is nibbana, and the path leading to the end of the dukkha. So Lord Buddha said, if one practices these mindfulness, these practices for 7 years continuously, Lord Buddha said, I guarantee one becomes anagami, that means never returner or arahant. Lord Buddha said, Bhikkhu, let it be. If one practices that this for mindfulness just for 6 years, and then 5 years, 4, 3, 2, 1 year, Lord Buddha said, I guarantee one becomes enlightened. And the Lord Buddha said, let it be for 1 year, 7 months, 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month. And then again the Lord Buddha said, let it be 1 month, just half a month, and then 7 days. If one practices these mindfulness practices for 7 days, one could become enlightened. So why there is a time period from 7 days to 7 years? Because sometimes some people need more time to improve their effort, and then mindfulness, and then also wisdom and concentration. Depending on the person's growth, it can be more or less. It depends. So that's why. So eventually, at the end of this discourse teaching, 30,000 monks became arahants. 30,000 monks became arahants. Many other devas and brahmas and lay people also must have become enlightened people. So this is the very brief introduction to this discourse. There are so much more to talk about this, but I would like to conclude this teaching sermon here. If anybody has questions, maybe we can discuss now.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante. Thank you for your great compassionate discourse today, Bhante. We are grateful. I'm going to open up a forum for question and answer. I have allowed you to unmute yourself, but please raise your hand before you unmute so that we know who is going to ask question, or you can type it in a chat window.
Hello, Namo Buddhaya.
Yes, sir. Please, Amol, go ahead with your question.
Good morning from India. Vandami Bhante.
Good morning. Sukhi Hotu.
My question is related to the practice of mindfulness. So many times I strongly think about or try to practice about the mindfulness, but at another moment or at some points I fail to do so. So you noted that efforts and energy it is needed. So that means I understand today's lecture. There is a need of great efforts and energy. I just think about to walk on the mindfulness, to talk with the mindfulness, to behave with the mindfulness, but I fail to do so. Means at one moment I realize I remain in present, but an other moment or after some 1 hour I fail to practice. Why this is so?
Well, it is, you are not alone here. You
Yes.
are not alone. So there it is how, that's why we need to practice. It takes time sometimes. The important thing is to be patient. It's very important. In this practice, we need patience. This is like, let's say, we are walking on a tight rope. Or a small bridge that a log and put across the river also. And we have to have a lots of balance. Sometimes we can lose the balance and fall. And then there was a Buddhist nun at the time of the Buddha. She told in her padana, in her after the enlightenment, her joy with her, she told her, in this practice, you might lose your foothold and fall. You can get up again and again and yet again. So what this story is telling, even at the time of the Buddha, Lord Buddha, people have struggled because this is not easy. The most difficult thing in the world is to be mindful. This is the most difficult thing because the mind is so used to being stray, running around like a wild beast. So now this is a practice. Practice means we have to keep up with this, and then that's okay. You know what happens sometimes? You become unmindful, and then let's say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe an hour is gone. So now it is gone. It is the past. We cannot go back to the past and then I'm going to start from where I failed. No, we cannot do that. We have to start now in the present moment again. That is why it is so important to remember this impermanent nature, anicca. Whatever happened in the past, it is gone. Past is dead and gone. Now we start again. Let it go instead of repenting, becoming unhappy about it. We just keep up with this present moment. As we keep up with this way in this practice, eventually our mindfulness becomes stronger. So we may be able to keep it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and or more. So this is the nature of the mind. So that there is a two. In the 7 factors of enlightenment, Lord Buddha has given some key points to develop mindfulness. One is to avoid unmindful people. To avoid unmindful. It doesn't mean we become unhappy, angry at them or anything like that. But we do not want to follow them, associate them more time than necessary. So that is to avoid unmindful people. People have no clue about what is mindfulness. It's not going to help us. And then associate mindful people. When we associate mindful people, we are going to hear. We are going to learn. We can see mindfulness can be not only heard about it. If we associate mindful people, then we can see the way they practice mindfulness. It is also an experience to see. I have seen some venerable monks, the way they walk, the way they talk, and they behave, and their life is full of mindfulness. When you look at them, we can learn to be mindful. So associating mindful people is very important if we want to develop mindfulness. And the other thing is we have to have inclination. I'm going to become mindful. We have to have that determination, but at the same time, not to be so rigid to hurt ourselves being obsessed with that. If sometimes it's gone without being mindful, that's okay. Let it go. It is the past. And then keep up with the practice as time goes on. You will improve your mindfulness. Sometimes we forget to see our growth. We only see we think of, we have developed so much, but we forget to see that. We also want to look at that, how much we have developed. And then again, when you have time, find some time, go for a retreat, 10 days or so. So that during that retreat, so you can abandon everything, everyday life. You can just try to be the best to be mindful in during that time. So then there is you can improve. The important thing is be patient. Just keep up with the practice. The middle path. We don't want to, if we become unhappy or sad, then we fall into one extreme. The important thing to remember is if we learn to be in the present moment, and if we learn to let go of the past, that's when we come to the middle path. When we are holding on to something, then we cannot come to the middle path. We have to learn to let go. Even the Dharma, Lord Buddha said, you must abandon even the Dhamma, not holding on to the Dhamma. Nothing to talk about a Dhamma, negative nature. Even the Dhamma, Lord Buddha said, we must learn to let go. That means not to hold on to it and learn to let go and then be mindful and practice. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes, Bhante. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other question? Please raise your hand to unmute yourself. Bhante, I see one in chat window. Prabhaji wants to know, Bhante, do you remain mindful all the time? Or I think she wanted to ask maybe, how do we try to remain mindful all the time? But that's the question, Bhante.
So do I remain mindful all the time? No. All the time, one who has become Arahant will be mindful all the time. I am not an Arahant. I don't even know if I am enlightened. But one thing I can tell you, I pay attention to the impermanent nature. So I do not try to hold on to anything. I pay attention, everything comes and goes. If I become unmindful for, let's say, 10 minutes, if I become aware of that immediately, I know that during that 10 minutes, whatever has been arisen, they all vanished. So I remember, I pay attention to that. I know that all that thing came in that during that time is gone, impermanent, dukkha. I have no control over any of those things, anatta. And then I continue again in the present moment. So it is important to maintain mindfulness. We have to have a routine. We have a routine. We have to have some, for me as a monk, I have a routine attending to the Lord Buddha, offerings, candlelights, water, food, and flowers, and those things. Chanting regularly every day, some discourses, and then reciting some meditation teachings, and then meditation. So I have these routines, so I keep up with them, so I stay within the Dhamma. And whatever I do inside or outside in the monastery temple, everything I do in the name of the Triple Gem to preserve the Dhamma. But this place, the temple, is not mine. That belongs to the Buddha's teaching, Buddha Sasana. With that kind of awareness, consciousness, I do things around. they all are meritorious deeds. So I am not mindful all the time, and also I am aware of that everything is rising and vanishing, and I can let go of things very easily without holding on to anything. This is how I practice, and I can tell you I have come a long way. I have a long way to go, but I am content where I am today.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante.
Thank you so much, Bhante ji. Thank you so much.
Do you have a follow-up, Prabhaji?
Yes,
Yes, please go ahead with
I
your
do
follow-up.
follow. Yes.
Bhante, there is a question related. Oh, go ahead, Prabhaji.
No,
Is there-
it was a very good discourse indeed. It was a very, Bhante ji has explained very well. So I have also done Satipatthana Sutta, and I was going to do it again. But now I will do 10 days course because Bhante ji has explained very well. So it has remind me the entire detail of Satipatthana. Thank you so much, Bhante ji.
Thank you,
You are
Prabhaji.
welcome. You are welcome. Triple Gem bless you. Thank you.
Bhante, I see one question in the chat box, Bhante. Bhante, is there a chant pertaining to mindfulness that you would recommend, especially one a person can or could recite on their way to work or start off the day well?
Satipatthana Sutra, chanting Satipatthana, one of the elders back in Sri Lanka, and he told us chanting Satipatthana Sutra helps to improve mindfulness. Let's say, for example, you know, this Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu khaye khayanupassi viharati gaccanto va gaccami iti pajanati tito va tito mi iti pajanati sayano va sayano mi iti pajanati, and so on. That's one of the, that's called Sampajanya Pabba. That's a contemplative meditation. In this meditation section, Lord Buddha said, bhikkhus here, the practitioner going forward becomes mindful, I am going forward. Coming back, he or she becomes mindfulness, I am coming back. Looking around, he becomes mindful, I am looking around. And then standing, sitting, walking, lying down, or putting clothes on as a layperson, as a monk putting robes on, going for alms round, or as a layperson going to get grocery or so, and then eating, drinking, and so on, even going to the bathrooms. In all these times, one becomes aware of that. I am doing this, I am doing that. Even when one talks, I am speaking, and then when one is quiet, I am quiet, and so. So these are the teachings about how to be mindful. Satipatthana Sutra. If you learn to chant Satipatthana Sutra, you'll find some areas, some sections that is more suitable or fitting to your thoughts and beliefs and mind, and so then it will be Satipatthana Sutra. It's a very long discourse. If you recite it, it takes about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, but you can find some sections in that. And the Satipatthana Sutra, I can recommend, it is the best one. we want to develop. This is not my personal idea. Then there was a very advanced meditation teacher back home, an elder. He passed away, and he's the one who taught us, and I have been practicing it, doing it. It is very helpful. Satipatthana Sutra.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante. Mr. Ray, do you have a follow-up? Do you want to ask? Okay. Any other questions from anybody? Bhante, if you permit me, can I allow them to ask in Hindi and then I'll translate it for you, Bhante?
Say that again.
Yeah, if they ask it in Hindi, I can translate it for you, Bhante. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so if you आपको अगर कोई सवाल है जो आप हिंदी में पूछना चाहते हैं तो पूछे। भंते मेडिटेशन टीचर है, मास्टर है, पढ़ाते हैं, प्रैक्टिस करते हैं। तो अगर आपकी इसमें भी कोई अगर क्वेश्चंस है, प्रैक्टिस में भी कोई क्वेश्चंस है तो आप पूछें, मैं भंते के लिए ट्रांसलेट करूंगा बैक एंड फोर्थ। प्रियंका जी, यस प्लीज गो अहेड।
Yes, good morning, Vandami Bhante ji. My question is that, like during pregnancy, there are many, ups and downs in life. There are some mood swings, and there are different feelings within a woman. So, how to overcome that? So it can never affect on our baby or our body.
Well, so if you learn to practice mindful contemplation of feelings, I think that will be very helpful. When you talk about feelings, it's called Vedana. It is not only unpleasant or painful. That is, feelings are two kinds, physical and mental. Mental is psychological and emotional feelings. Physical pain, we know, headaches, pain in the back or head or in the body, anywhere, any part, the physical pain. It can be pleasant too. And the pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. There are three ways feelings we can experience. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant, and the neutral. Most of the times people do not notice neutral feelings. When there's a pleasant, happy feelings, also people get lost because they're looking for happiness. Now it is there, so they don't have to think about it. They just become happy. But when there's pain, that's when people really notice it. Pain, physical. And then emotional and psychological feelings arise. They are also pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. Here also, when we are happy, then we don't worry, think too much about it. Happy feelings, it is that we are looking for, we are happy, emotionally, psychologically. Neutral feelings also unnoticed, it is difficult to understand. But when we are psychologically and emotionally suffering, then we know we are suffering. So if you learn about to meditate on pain of feelings, I think that can help you a lot, because these, then another thing you said, the mood swing, right? That is there. Then you can pay attention to the mind. The mind, sometimes happy mind, sometimes unhappy mind, sometimes mind with greed, sometimes mind with generosity, sometimes mind with anger, sometimes mind with love and compassion. So sometimes mind with pride, conceit, arrogance, sometimes mind with humility. So mind arises in all these different ways. If we pay attention to them, what we can see, they all come and go. they all come and go. The important thing is, if you are unhappy or angry or so, if you remember not to say anything, that is very helpful. When you are unhappy, angry, just don't say a word. Wait. So let's say, for example, someone talks to you with an angry words. What you can tell them? You can ask them, can you tell what you want to tell me without being angry? Then what happens? That person has nothing to say. Then we have to think the same way about ourselves, you know. When we are angry and so, and saying words to others, harsh words, so then let's try to say it without we take the anger out of that. How to do that? Mindfulness. Mindfulness. We become mindful, and then so the feelings here, we become attached to these feelings, and then feelings are like these things that float in the air by the wind. When things floating in the air by the wind, they just keep on going. If our body is dry, also they don't get stuck. But if we have some wet things around our body, then they get stuck. So that means if we are not mindful, we are going to get stuck with these feelings and thoughts. But if we are mindful, we can learn to let go of them. The mindfulness is the key here. Be mindful about. And then the three things I have been practicing meditation for a while now. I have learned three things. I tell people three things. One is to learn to be in the present moment. Number one. That means to learn to be mindful. Number two, pay attention to the impermanent nature, anicca. Things come and go. They are not staying. Things are always disappearing. As soon as they rise, they disappear. And they keep rising and vanishing. Impermanent, anicca. Pay attention to anicca. Number three, to let go. We cannot let go. Let's say, I'm going to let go of this, and I try to push it away. That's not letting go. But if we pay attention to the impermanent nature, letting go happens automatically. It is automatic. So that these three things, being in the present moment, being mindful, paying attention to the impermanent nature, anicca, and the learning to let go. If we can keep up with these three things, 1, 2, 3, so it will make it much easier, much easier.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante. Thank you very much. Bhante, I see one more question there, but I wanted to be mindful of your time, Bhante. It's about 10 o'clock at your place.
Yeah.
So whatever you say, Bhante, we'll do like that.
No, that's okay. The last question.
Okay, Bhante, yeah. So the question coming is, meditating at least 2 hours a day is better in our life, but sometimes it becomes difficult to meditate some days. If we try to maintain awareness most of the time during day, is it sufficient? Please explain.
Well, it is. It is very important. Sometimes people sit 1 hour and meditate, and after that they just drop everything. There's no mindfulness after that. That's not how we must do it. We sit for meditation. When we get up, we still want to keep that meditation with every other daily activities. Sitting every day, 2 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours is good. It's very important. It is very important because when we sit quietly, silently close our eyes, and then that is like recharging. You know, your cell phone, if you keep using and using and using it, and then eventually battery is going to die. And then you have to recharge it. Then you can use it again. It is like that when we sit, we recharge. It is a fast improvement of mindfulness and concentration and wisdom and effort. But we cannot just ignore that everyday activities we must do with mindfulness. So when we learn to live in mindfulness, it helps when you sit down, your mind becomes easily calm and peaceful. And then when you get up and the sitting helps to be mindful throughout the day. Sometimes difficult times there can be, we don't have a chance to sit. Then what we need to do, at least try 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or from during the time, your normal meditation time, if you have something else to do, try to be more mindful about that time as much as you can. Or at least remember, this is my meditation time. I must be mindful. It is that important. And then sometimes what happens for some people, they keep up with this the routine. For some reason, they become the obstacles come around, and then a day also, so they miss it, and then they just ignore it. They don't get back to it. They don't get back to it. That is the mistake we should not do. If I miss it today, I must definitely do it next day. If I miss 2 days in a row, then I should make much more effort to get back to the practice again. So when I get back to the practice, I may not be very enthusiastic about it, the practice, because of this missing few days. The mindfulness is slow, and then the concentration is low, and so, but then we have to work hard. We have to, when we fall, it needs effort and energy to get up, stand up. So we don't want to stay fall. That is the worst thing we can do. We need to get up and then keep up going. That's how it goes. Then we keep up with this practice. The important thing is, no matter what happened, we don't want to stop our practice. You can make mistakes. You can do some things that is not right also. Important thing is, we have to let go of them and keep up with the practice. You have to keep up with the practice. Sitting every day is important. If not, then be mindful as much as you can. Even when we are sitting and being mindful, everyday activities, they both help each other. It is important to do it. And again, find some time. Go for a retreat, at least once a year or twice a year, 10 days or so. Go for a retreat. It is very helpful. It is necessary if we want to realize, develop the Dharma in us.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante. Thank you very much for your compassionate Dhammadana today, Bhante. On behalf of all the participants, before we conclude the session, I wanted to request if you can do the Punya Anumodan for us, Bhante.
So it is wonderful that we had a good Dhamma discussion, and today you have accumulated vast some of meritorious deeds, taking refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, the triple gem, observing the 5 precepts, and then listening to this wonderful teaching of the Lord Buddha, and then also asking questions and discussions. You have been very kind and respectful, and then by doing all these good things, this accumulation of these vast meritorious deeds, by the blessing of these meritorious deeds and the blessings of the noble triple gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, Sangha, may all of you receive good health, long life, happiness, and peace. May you achieve your noble aspirations in the Dhamma. May you follow this wonderful path explained by the Lord Buddha. May you continue to be mindful, practice every day, throughout the day, and sitting and practicing every day. May you realize the Four Noble Truths, the Dhamma, and experience the supreme happiness, peace, Nibbana. Also our departed loved ones, and then right understanding and Buddha Sasana protecting devas, and all beings from the lowest to the highest realm. Receive, enjoy, and rejoice these wholesome deeds we have accumulated. May all beings and all devas also follow this wonderful path. May they all be healthy, happy, and peaceful. May all beings be free from dukkha and realize the Dhamma and attain Nibbana. In the end, finally, may all of you realize the Four Noble Truths and experience the ultimate happiness, peace, Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabba rogo vinassatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava bhavatu sabba mangalam rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sati bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalam rakkantu sabba devata Samba Dhammanubhavena Sada Sati Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Samba Mangalam Rakkantu Samba Devata Samba Sanghanubhavena Sada Sati Bhavantu Te Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Iminate Samijjatu Akasatta ca Bhummata Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyang Tang Anumodinva Chirang Rakkantu Sasanang Chirang Rakkantu Desanang Chirang Rakkantu Tvang Sadati. Triple J bless you.
Yeah, with your permission, Bhante, can I close today's session, Bhante? Can I end it here?
Yes, absolutely.
Much gratitude to you, Bhante. Sadhu, 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 Bhante.
Triple J bless you.